Beloved, I want you to listen closely because I believe this word is for you. God is saying that your waiting season is coming to an end. I know it's been long. I know it's been hard, but the wait has a purpose. Some of you have been asking, why hasn't it happened yet? You've been praying, crying, and believing, but the breakthrough has seemed so far away. But today I am here to tell you your season of waiting is drawing to a close. Now, I want you to stay with me for the entirety of this message, because the reason why your waiting season is coming to an end is not only for you to receive your promise, but for you to understand how God has been shaping you during this time. This is the moment you've been waiting for. And the wisdom you will receive today will change everything about how you look at your waiting period and how you walk into the next season of your life with confidence. Stay tuned to hear how you can claim your victory in the timing of God. Waiting is not a sign of abandonment, it is a divine process in God's timing. We live in a world that values instant gratification. We want everything now, our dreams, our desires, our blessings, but God operates on a different timetable. While you might feel like your prayers are unanswered or your desires are delayed, understand that God is not slow in fulfilling his promises. He is always working, even when you don't see it. The Bible reminds us in Ecclesiastes 3:1 that to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Waiting is part of that process, and it is necessary for the fulfillment of God's plan in your life. In the waiting, God is positioning you for the best version of the promise he has for you. Sometimes we think that because we don't see immediate results, God is not moving. But in fact, he is moving in ways that we cannot always perceive. The waiting season is a time when God prepares your heart, your mind, and your spirit. It's a time when he refines you, strengthens your faith, and deepens your trust in him. This is not a wasted time. Every moment of waiting is a moment that God is working in you to create something greater than you could have imagined. God's silence does not equate to his absence. There is a purpose behind every delay. What God is preparing you for is beyond what you can see right now. He is working behind the scenes, arranging circumstances and setting things into motion that will lead to your breakthrough. If you rush ahead of God or try to force the promise to come sooner than his timing, you risk missing out on the fullness of what he wants to give you. Therefore, trust the process and know that while you wait, you are being prepared for what is to come. God's delays are not denials, and they are not a sign that he has forgotten you. Rather, they serve a greater purpose in your life. During the waiting season, God is not idle. He is aligning the circumstances, people, and events in your life so that when the promise finally arrives, everything will be in perfect harmony. Sometimes we grow impatient because we see others receiving what we long for. But it's important to understand that everyone's journey is unique. Just because someone else's blessing has arrived doesn't mean yours is not on the way. God's plan for you is tailor-made and will unfold in his perfect timing. While waiting, God is teaching us to depend on him. In our impatience, we often try to take matters into our own hands, but waiting teaches us to surrender our will to his and trust that his plans are far better than anything we could orchestrate on our own. This period of waiting is an opportunity to deepen your faith, cultivate patience, and trust in the sovereignty of God. Remember, God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Isaiah 55:9. His timing may not make sense in the moment, but you can rest assured that it is always the best timing. Waiting also cultivates gratitude. When the promise finally arrives, you will appreciate it in ways that you would not have if it had come sooner. The trials and challenges of the waiting season will make the fulfillment of God's promises even sweeter. So do not despise the waiting. Instead, embrace it, knowing that God is working in you and through you, preparing you for what is to come. This is not a time of stagnation, it's a time of preparation for greater things ahead. God's timing is always perfect, even when it feels like nothing is happening. It's important to understand that while we are waiting, God is not just idly watching the clock tick away. He is actively involved in orchestrating every detail of our lives. Often we grow impatient when things don't unfold according to our timeline, but we must remember that God sees the bigger picture. While we might be focused on the immediate, God is focused on the long term, preparing us for something far greater than we could imagine. Psalm 31:15 says, my times are in your hands, reminding us that every moment of our lives is in the hands of the Creator. There is no such thing as an accidental delay or an unanswered prayer in God's economy. Every delay is an intentional act of God's grace, shaping you for the right moment. Just because you don't see the immediate results doesn't mean God is not working. Just because you don't feel the answer yet doesn't mean it won't come. Trusting God's timing requires faith that even in silence, He is moving mountains for your good. We must learn to trust that when the time is right, God will bring everything to pass. His timing is not only perfect, but it is always for your benefit. Sometimes what we see as a delay is simply God's way of protecting us from something that is not yet in alignment with His purpose for our lives. God knows when you are ready for the blessing. He knows when you are fully prepared to handle the responsibility that comes with it. When the time is right, He will open doors that no one can shut and bless you in ways that exceed your expectations. Trusting God's timing means relinquishing control and submitting to His sovereign will. It means understanding that He sees what we cannot and knows what we do not. As we wait, we must keep our faith strong, knowing that at the appointed time, God will act swiftly and decisively, bringing the breakthrough we've been praying for. Every season in life has a beginning and an end, and this includes the waiting season. The Bible assures us that there is a time for everything under heaven, a time to plant and a time to pluck. What is planted? Ecclesiastes 3:2. When we understand that waiting is simply a season, it helps us shift our perspective and recognize that this period will not last forever. Just as winter gives way to spring, the season of waiting will eventually lead to a season of fulfillment. You might feel stuck, like nothing is changing, but take comfort in knowing that this season is just temporary. So waiting is not permanent, it is a necessary step in your journey. When we wait, we learn to develop perseverance, trust, and patience. But just as the rains eventually stop and the sun rises again, your waiting season will come to an end. The key is not to be discouraged by how long the wait seems, but to keep believing and working while you wait. Every season serves a purpose, and the waiting period is no exception. God uses this time to strengthen you, to grow your faith, and to prepare you for the new opportunities ahead. The end of the waiting season is not a sudden, unannounced event. It will be marked by clear signs of God's action in your life. You will know when it is time for the next step because you will feel a release in your spirit and see God's hand opening doors that were once closed. Just like the farmer waits for the harvest, trusting that what he planted will eventually bear fruit, you too can trust that your waiting will result in something beautiful in its season. Hold on, because your time of harvest is coming. The season of waiting is drawing to a close, and you are about to step into something greater than you ever imagined. The transition from waiting to fulfillment is a pivotal moment in your journey. It's often during this transition that many people lose heart, not realizing that their breakthrough is just around the corner. It's important to understand that waiting is not a passive state, but an active one. You are being prepared, shaped, and refined for what God has in store for you. When God is ready to bring the fulfillment of His promises into your life, you will experience a powerful shift. This shift marks the end of your waiting season and the beginning of a new season of purpose, fruitfulness, and manifestation. When the waiting season ends, it's not just about the blessing you receive, it's about the transformation that has occurred within you. During the waiting period, God is molding your character, strengthening your faith, and increasing your capacity to handle what's coming next. When the transition happens, you won't just be stepping into a new blessing, you will be stepping into a new version of yourself, fully equipped for the next level. This is the moment when God will open doors that no one can shut. When God transitions you from waiting to fulfillment, you will know it. Things will begin to align. People will start to recognize your worth, and opportunities will open up that seemed impossible just a short time ago. So what you've been praying for, hoping for, and believing for will begin to come to fruition. It's not just about receiving what you've waited for, but about stepping into the fullness of God's plan for your life. The transition from waiting to fulfillment requires faith that God is faithful to His promises. It requires patience to wait for the right moment. And it requires perseverance to keep moving forward, even when it feels like nothing is changing. But when that moment arrives, you will see that the waiting was not in vain. It was all part of God's perfect timing to prepare you for what is ahead. The end of your waiting season is not just a moment of relief, but a moment of victory. Because it signifies that God has been at work in your life and His plan is unfolding just as He promised. God's timing is always perfect, and it's vital to understand that when it feels like nothing is happening, God is still working. One of the biggest challenges during the waiting season is the feeling that time is slipping away and that your prayers are unanswered. Yet the truth is that God's timing is never off. It's not just right, it's perfect every single time. Psalm 31:15 reminds us, my times are in your hands. That means every detail of your life, every moment of waiting is within God's perfect control. It's also important to realize that God's delay is not denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. The delay is often a sign that God is doing more than you can see. He is aligning your heart, your character, and your situation so that when your breakthrough comes, you are fully prepared to receive it and walk in it. This timing takes into account all that you need to thrive in the blessing He has prepared for you. The clarity that comes at the end of the waiting season is not just about understanding what's next, but also about understanding the purpose behind the wait. You will realize that the waiting season was not wasted, but it was preparing you for the blessing you are about to receive. God uses the waiting to refine your desires, purify your intentions, and align your heart with His will. When He brings your season of waiting to a close, you will see clearly how everything fits together in His perfect plan for your life. This clarity is not only about the specific blessing you've been waiting for, but about understanding your role in God's larger purpose for your life. When the waiting season ends, you will have a deeper understanding of who you are in Christ, what your purpose is, and how your life fits into God's eternal plan. This new perspective will give you the confidence to step into the next season, knowing that you are exactly where God has called you to be. As your waiting season comes to an end, you will experience a new level of focus and direction. No longer will you be wandering in uncertainty. Instead, you will move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and understanding. The season of waiting was not just about preparing for the blessing, but also about preparing you to walk in the fullness of God's plan for your life. The clarity you gain will equip you to not only receive your blessing, but to steward it in a way that honors God and fulfills His purpose for your life. As your waiting season draws to a close, you will experience a surge of renewed strength and energy. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 40:31, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. This verse is a powerful reminder that waiting on God does not weaken us. Rather, it prepares us to move forward with greater strength, endurance, and vigor than ever before. The process of waiting is not a time of stagnation, but a time of preparation, where God builds your inner strength, equips you for the challenges ahead, and fills you with the power needed to step into the new season. So when the waiting season ends, it's as if a fresh wind blows through your life. You may have felt weary, discouraged, or even defeated during the waiting period, but when God opens the door to the next season, He will restore your energy and passion. This renewed strength is not just physical, but spiritual, emotional, and mental. God will empower you to face whatever challenges come with the new season and will enable you to thrive rather than merely survive. As you move from waiting to fulfillment, your strength will be elevated because you will understand that the waiting period was essential for building your character and resilience. Just as athletes train and build strength before a race, God has been building your spiritual muscles during the waiting period so that when it's time for action, you will be more than ready to seize the opportunities that come your way. This renewed strength also gives you the courage to pursue God's purpose with greater boldness. You will no longer hesitate or second guess yourself, but you will move forward with confidence, knowing that God has equipped you for the journey. The waiting season may have been difficult, but it has prepared you for what lies ahead. With God's strength, you will not grow weary or faint, but you will run your race with perseverance and joy, embracing all that God has for you in the new season. As your waiting season comes to an end, you will witness the manifestation of God's promises in your life. The Bible is filled with examples of God's faithfulness in bringing His promises to fruition, even after a long period of waiting. Hebrews 10:23 encourages us to hold fast to our hope. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. For He who promised is faithful. God's promises are not idle words. They are the foundation of our faith. And He is always faithful to fulfill them in His perfect timing. When your waiting season ends, it won't just be a small breakthrough. It will be a mighty manifestation of God's power and provision. What you have been waiting for, praying for, and believing for will come to pass in a way that surpasses your expectations. God's fulfillment is not only about meeting your needs, but also about exceeding them, bringing a greater blessing than you ever imagined. The breakthrough will be so significant that it will be undeniable that God's hand was in it every step of the way. When God's promises manifest, they do so with perfect timing, aligned with His will and purpose for your life. His timing is always right, and when it's your time, everything will fall into place. Your waiting season has been preparing you for this moment, and when the promise is fulfilled, you will look back and see how every moment of waiting was worth it. God's faithfulness will be evident, and you will step into a new season of abundance, purpose, and victory, knowing that God has been at work in your life all along.